first experience with Zete Psi was walking into the Zete house, 25 Bell Avenue in Troy, New York. I remember dust coming down the central column from afar. It was a 3-story, and this guy comes down. I was with another guy from my freshman dorm. His name was Seth Goodman. He was the best man at my wedding. Turned up to be a Zete. Good choice. And this guy in bib overalls and a beard, a huge scruffy beard, no shirt, comes down and goes, "Lauck Walton, you're a legacy. You're a legacy." And he's, short guy, really intense. I was like, "Oh, I don't think so. I don't know. I don't have any, my dad didn't go to a college that has a Zete Psi chapter. He told me it wasn't a fraternity." "Well, then your uncle or your grandfather." I said, I really don't think so. I don't think that's right. But he was insistent. And, but it was great because, he actually talked to me, and the dust was from the renovations because the chapter had been closed for 2 years. And this was about the 4th day of school, and we were on rush tours. It was a different time. And I remember so clearly it was John Spahn. And of course, it turned out to be that we got the story completely wrong. I wasn't a legacy. I'm not a legacy. I never have been a legacy. But 10 years later, I figured out what was going on. Okay. I eventually, of course, joined Zete Psi and worked for the headquarters staff. And I was at a New York banquet, one of these New York luncheons. And a guy from my church walks in and goes right up to Jim Young. Jim, nice to see you again." His name was Flat Toe. He was from the Mu chapter at Stanford. And of course, that's where the legacy thing came from. They just got the story wrong. Jim talked to Mr. Flat Toe. Mr. Flat Toe said, "Hey, there's this guy from my church going to RPI next year. Maybe you should look him up." Jim told the guys, probably that exactly. Jim's an engineer, one of the most brilliant guys I've ever met. And of course, the guys got it wrong. They said, Rush, we know somebody, no legacy, whatever. It worked. RPI was an engineering and science school, and in my sophomore year, I was taking organic chemistry, and I was actually working pretty hard, and I really didn't do it very well. So my advisor said, "Hey, you need a new major." Best advice I ever got. So I changed to psychology, which was at RPI really easy. I was, one of the very few psychology, 4 of us. There were only 4 in the entire major. But it left me a ton of time to do Zete Psi and student government, which I loved. And working with the president of the university, the provost, the academic dean. I eventually became chairman of the judicial board, the IFC senator, and had plenty of time to do Zete Psi stuff. It was the best decision I ever made. Now, to be fair, I graduated on time, stayed, okay, and got my master's degree on time too. So it worked out great. My first boss out of college, out of graduate school, was Greg McElroy. I was lucky enough to work with him at the headquarters staff. Greg's unbelievable. Great mentor, great leader, patient as a boss. He would tell you things that other bosses wouldn't bother with. Really helped me more than I probably even know. I remember when we started the Cooper Union chapter, and I was working for the headquarters, and we were up at the NYU house. They had a loft down in Washington Square, so we were on the 6th floor, but it was small. It's New York City. It's tight. Where do you put somebody before you're ready to do the initiation? This is a very space-intensive process. And I went to a place with a big chapter house and 25 rooms, and it was easy. NYU was tough, and this was a big group. Cooper Union had like 20 pledges, and we're trying to get them done in one night. And everybody knows that's going to take a while. So we had to store them in the bathroom, in a big, big bathroom and we were so committed to trying to make sure that they didn't feel like they were being abused or anything, but it was the only place, it was terrible, it was the only place we had. Now there were some other guys that was like, well, I suffered more than that. And unfortunately, I think a lot of that silliness is left, creeps back in from time to time. And it's the piece we need to always be guarding against. But, I can remember those guys being so happy to get through the service and to get to sit on the couch. They thought that was better than almost anything. I've gotten to be an elder with several groups. I've worked with the Maryland chapter over the years, the DC elders, and the New York State Capital District Association of Zeta Psi at the Pi chapter. And I've been lucky enough to put my toe in the water and get dragged in all cases. And it's been tremendously rewarding. I really like working with the undergraduates, the young guys, try to teach them something. And it's changed over the years what you teach and what they need to know. I would say that the more we focus on setting an example, talking about honor, ritual, we're on the right track. When we're talking about clean the house or, you guys are irresponsible, we're probably wasting time. Over 25 years, I've learned that I didn't like hearing I was irresponsible as an active, and I don't think very many actives like hearing it when they're actives now, from elders, And so, sure, sometimes they are, and heck, they're 18 to 21-year-old guys that we give the keys to the castle. We let them run the place all for themselves. But it's that mistake. Hopefully it's a discretionary mistake where they've actually thought about it and still made a mistake. I can live with those every day. It's the foolish. It's the foolish that drives me crazy. But still, if we don't give them the opportunity to make mistakes, how do they grow? How do they learn? I had the chance to learn in Zeta Psi, and I want that for them too. My advice to actives hasn't changed. Just think a little bit, okay? Try to put your brain in gear for a minute before making a very short-term decision that could have lifetime consequences. Alcohol can be fun, not a teetotaler. But at the same time, if there's a guy that's had too much and is about to make a dumb decision, as your brother's keeper, it is your obligation to step in and try to make that outcome better. Because little mistakes we make can lead to huge ramifications. And I don't want anybody to be hurt. For me, Zeta Psi is about honor. It's in our motto. It's the key to what we do. If we behave with honor, if we treat others with honor, particularly women, pledges, people on campus, if we treat them honorably, we will be men of character and distinction. And honor, in my view, it's the foundation of the ritual. If we have honor and we act honorably, we're not going to make too many mistakes. We're going to be pretty happy in life. And ultimately, reap the rewards of good life.